In our lesson for today, called After School Activity, we're going to look at another way to uh, organize and show data, what's known as a two-way frequency table. We'll learn how to create and interpret those two-way frequency tables in the context of this after-school activity that we're taking a look at. So in this activity, it says Rashid is in charge of determining the upcoming after-school activity. To determine the type of activity, Rashid asked several students whether they prefer to have a dance or play a game of soccer. As he collected preferences, he organized the data in the following two-way frequency table. So girls, boys, soccer, dance, and totals. So Rashid is feeling unsure of the activity he should choose based on the data he has collected and is asking for help. To better understand how the data is displayed, it's useful to know that the outer numbers located in the margins represent the total frequency for each row or column of corresponding values. Those are called the marginal frequencies. So 54 total likes soccer, 54 total chose dance, with 106 total participants, and 46 total boys and 60 total girls took part in the survey. Value is part of the inner body. That would be this section here. Those are known as joint frequencies. Those are created by the intersection of information from the columns and rows. So for instance, girls that chose soccer or people that chose soccer that were boys. So using the data in the table, construct a viable argument and explain which event Rashid should choose for the students in the after-school program. So jot down some notes. I'll share some thoughts, but it's basically, what do you notice? What do you notice about this table that would help you to make an informed decision? So pause the video, restart it when you're ready to see my thoughts. So as you can see, the votes were pretty split pretty evenly. 54 out of 106 chose soccer and 52 out of 106 chose dance. And we can see that, well, the majority of girls chose dance and the majority of boys chose soccer. So the question is, do we make the boys happy or make the girls happy? There's more girls in the after-school program, so maybe you would lean towards choosing the activity that the majority of girls chose. For instance, as we take a look, the people that chose this event, 57%, for calculating, 57% of girls are in this activity and 43% are boys. So we go towards the majority's decision. Rashid could choose one of those. Or he could just take a look at, the boys. 87% of the boys, prefer soccer, and only 13%, 6 out of 46 prefer dance. Whereas if we're looking at the girls, 23% of the girls would choose soccer. Excuse me. Whereas 77%, 46 out of 60, chose dance. So yes, the majority of boys chose soccer and the majority of girls chose dance, but we might please greater percentage of the people, since majority of boys and a greater majority of girls chose soccer than compared to the percentages of boys that chose dance. So Rashid might be better off choosing soccer. He might please more groups that way, as opposed to going with dance, where the girls would be happy but very few of the boys would. So here's how we can use those tables. In part 2, it says two-way frequency tables allow us to organize categorical data in order to draw conclusions. For each set of data, create a frequency table. Each frequency table is complete. Write 3 sentences about observations, including any trends or associations, similar to what we did before. So it says there are 45 total students who like to read books. So that would be our total surveyed. And it says that of these students, 12 of them like nonfiction, so a total of 12 for nonfiction. That would mean that there are, 33 that prefer fiction. 4 girls like nonfiction, so girls nonfiction is 4. That leaves a total of 8 boys in nonfiction. 20 boys like fiction, which means there's got to be 13 girls that like nonfiction, or fiction rather. which would mean a total of 28 boys and a total of 17 girls in this survey, and 28 plus 17 is 45, 33 plus 12 is 45. All our numbers should match up. So go ahead, what do you notice? What are 3 observations you make? What are the different trends you notice? Restart the video when you're ready to see my observations. So these are 3 observations that I have. I noticed that most boys preferred fiction, 20 to 8, which is 71% of the boys. Most girls preferred fiction, 13 to 4, which would be 76% of the girls. There were more boys surveyed, 62% of the total were boys, I noticed. So, and along with these two, most boys prefer fiction, most girls. Overall, fiction was preferred to nonfiction. Maybe you had other observations. Go ahead and share those with me in class. What I'd like you to do now is analyze data set 2. So fill out the table on your own. You got to figure out what the 2 categories are, and then make some observations. When you're ready to check what I had, restart the video. So pause it now. So I made my chart based on 7th graders and 8th graders. There are 35 7th graders and 41 8th graders completing a survey about the amount of time they spent on homework. 50 said they spent more than an hour, and 12 8th graders said they spent less than an hour. So that left 29 doing more than 1 hour, which left 21 7th graders for that category, which meant there were only 14 left over for less than 1 hour. 3 observations I had were, well, the overwhelming majority spent more than an hour. If I looked individually, 8th graders, 71% of the total of 8th graders spent more than an hour. 60% of the 7th graders spent more than 1 hour, so a greater percentage of 8th graders as compared to 7th grade, but overall they were all majority spending more than in 1 hour. And as we look at the totals, there were more 8th graders that took the survey, and I think my numbers are off on that percentage. Let me check again. Yep, that should only be 54%. So it's split pretty even between the 2 groups, but we can see which group had a higher percentage doing more than 1 hour. So those are two-way frequency tables. Hopefully you're more familiar with how to create, read, and interpret those. Your homework that you can do in class, take a look at scatter plots, which we looked at earlier in the year. So take a look at the scatter plot showing the relationships between 2 variables and explain if there's a relationship. So take a look at, is there much correlation between those values? Remember we talked about positive, negative correlation. Is it a strong correlation, or is there seem to be no correlation? And then you're going to take a look at two-way frequency tables, create some, find the joint to marginal frequencies, and you can work on those in class, and I can help you out if you have any questions with those. And then you'll finish up taking a look at some favorite TV networks. Maybe you prefer the Cartoon Network or Nickelodeon. I think I would prefer Animal Planet out of all these. But take a look at those and organize on a two-way frequency table to figure out how to compare and analyze the data from there. So that will be what you'll work on in class. If you have questions, I'll be there to help you out.